you can't hear me ask a lot of questions.
It looks like I picked this art out by myself. And I'm like, nope, no.
Do you want me to take it off so it's not distracting?
No. Oh, I have people in my waiting room.
That's me.
They are not people who are coming. Oh, there's Libby. There we go.
Oh, I don't have a, can I do it on here? I have a Band-Aid covering my screen.
Hey, I'm making sure that my headset's on. Okay, hold on. Headset, connect. Okay, tell me if you.
Wait.
I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, we did it. I don't know why I get excited every single time I like successfully join a Zoom.
No, the things that happen with Zoom were like, yay!
Yay! You'd think I'd be used to it by now, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. That's so funny. That's awesome. Well, you look very nice.
Oh, thank you. Nice to
face to face.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me. This is gonna be. I'm excited. I was looking forward to this.
I'm excited too. Yeah, and I think this is a holiday week, so I'm hoping some of these people that have said they're interested are gonna pop in. So what I do is I try to monitor. Like I'll go over here and watch the chat. Oh, let me do this. Hold on. Let me go do here. I'll make you a co-host. And then,
good.
Yeah. So I'll watch if anyone has any questions or if anything comes up, and then at the end, if they have any other questions. You know, I know right now people are starting to ask because you guys are opening up for August 1st.
Right.
I get asked, I don't know, today was like 30 times on the COVID test and where am I going to get it and how's it going to prove and what if I don't pass and what am I going to do? I'm
definitely going to speak to that because I think everybody's kind of asking those questions, you know, like
I know. Well, it changes every day.
Exactly. So I think we're so excited that we actually got like a date that we can say, hey, come see us. But at the same time, there's so many questions surrounding it that we all are just trying to figure it out. So regardless, it's good. I'm glad people are at least having the conversation and asking about it.
Yeah. Well, and there's always been, I say this at every time, there's two types of travelers right now. There's people that are like, I'll go right now, like get me out. And then there's people like, oh, no,
yeah,
I'm not going. No, danger.
Right.
Like my parents, you know, and so that you can't appease those people. But my goal is they're going to travel at some point. So I've been trying to keep people interested, and then the people who want to travel. But I have a couple right now that's getting married in Kauai, and then they're going to Tahiti. So I'm like, they're gonna have to do a COVID to go to Hawaii, and then they're gonna have to do one to go to Tahiti from there.
Oh gosh,
so that was like
a dream trip, and still, dang.
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, okay, let me send her this. Okay, I was just
so
sending
where
her.
you're at in Arizona, is it relatively easy to get testing? Is it free? Is it expensive? Like, what is it kind of like out there?
To get to Hawaii?
No, I'm sorry. Just to get testing, just to get the.
Oh, that's interesting because so like my daughter had to get tested last week. It was very difficult because we're so hot right now. With like I think we had 5,000 cases yesterday. So, but from what I read is that Northwest and LabCorp both of them allow. I can hear through your phone.
I know. I was just gonna say. I just heard an echo.
Coulter's here. I'm like, I'm hearing my own voice.
Coulter.
We don't need Susan's echo.
There's two of you, Susan.
I know. The world does not need two Susan. Okay. But I think you can make appointments because it has to be that specific test. And so they have to get that one. There's a lot of companies that are popping up that are like, hey, we'll show you have a COVID test so you can go to work, but they're not the official test. So, but like my daughter couldn't get, it was like 12 days out. So I think they're getting better at it. But I think it's difficult to get, right now, we're definitely a difficult spot. This is, of course, my son. Can you add $5 to my account? I'm in a meeting. I love 19-year-olds.
That was my next question. How old?
Yeah, 10. No, he's 19 and he's not even in the same state. He's in Arizona. I'm in California. I'm like, if only dad was home. If only there was a person named Papa, father. Oh, that's tough. So I think that's, but the people who want it are like if you're organized, you can go and pre-do it and go look and go on to like Snoring Quest and LabCorp. I already looked and you can get in there. So, so I think it is. So, okay. There we go. I just entered a couple people. We've got a couple more people in the waiting room. Okay, we've got Kieran and then someone else. Okay, let's see here. Okay, and so how fun. I'm gonna make sure everyone is muted too, except of course you and I. Oh, good. I know, and I have 2 more people that just texted me, and they're not in the waiting room yet. But I think that if people are organized enough and reach out, they just have to make sure they understand what is going on. It's not that they can't get that they'll land and go into quarantine. It's that they won't get on the airplane.
Right.
They won't get cleared to go. And so I think it also should bring them some comfort in knowing,
Absolutely.
hey, this is, I think this is really going to help us with what's going on in stopping the spread and stuff like that. So that's my goal. I really think so. And Hawaii is one of those, for us, it's a great product to sell. It's a nonstop on all the islands from Arizona. I sell all across the country, but it's a huge product for all of us there. And it's one of these things that a lot of people who, especially right now, can't get passports because everything's closed down. That's what they're asking for. You've got that, San Juan and St. Thomas.
Exactly.
And, they don't want to go to cruise. So it's, how do we get over there? And so I'm excited for it to open. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I am too. It's been a long road, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I tell everyone, I go, if you had told me it'd be here in March, I would have laughed. I'd be like, no way.
Absolutely not. I was like, someone said, oh, it's going to be past June. And I was like, there's no way. Everything's fine. And then now.
I had a wedding in July. And I was like, oh, honey, if this affects your wedding, I said, the whole world's over. Her wedding got canceled. I was like, don't say that, Susan. I know, like, don't say that. You just keep it. Yeah. So, I know. So, okay. So I'm going to introduce you, and then, like, everyone who's in here, if you have questions, you guys, there's a chat area. You can go ahead and chat. I will try to take care of your questions during the time. And then at the end, if we have other questions, we'll open it up just so we make sure that she can do her presentation while we're going. But, this is Libby Child. She so you represent the Prince Hotel, which covers these resorts. Right.
So our brand per se is Prince Resorts Hawaii, and then it has the 3 hotels in Hawaii encompassed in that.
Perfect. Okay. Well, that's great. Well, as I was saying earlier, Hawaii is just a great product for us. And it's just, it's always great to have better hotels to sell. I think there's so many places that you can go to in Hawaii, and I have a lot of clients that come back and they're like, they have picked a place that is not super nice, or it takes so much to get there. In a sense, like, you get one vacation, let's say, I always tell people, don't waste it. Let's find a great deal. Let's find a great place for you so that you can enjoy what you're seeing while you go there. So I'm excited to learn myself, but I will let you go ahead. I've made you a co-host. You can totally share your screen. And then if you have any questions for me, let me know.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Susan, so much for having me. Thank you for being here. I think you just nailed it, Susan, in that Hawaii is so diverse. Every single island is different. So it's essentially like you need to know, so much about all the different product. And that's why we're so grateful for our travel agent community, because without you guys, I think a lot of people would be lost out there. So finding the right property and the right destination within Hawaii itself is very important. So I'm excited to kind of show you what I got going on. Let me see. Sharing screen here.
I know, we think we'd be really good at that too.
Yeah, right.
Some days I'm like, how do I? Oh, that's
how? What button do I push?
I know. I'm like, how many have I done?
Yeah. So awesome. So I'll jump right into it. Yes, I represent the Westin Hapuna Beach Resort and the Mauna Kea Hotel located on the island of Hawaii. You guys, I'm not going to get mad at you if you call it the Big Island. I call it the Big Island. This is my home, regardless. And then I also represent Prince Waikiki on the island of Oahu. So I just kind of want to give a quick overview of me a little bit, just so, some kind of.
Oh, that's awesome photo.
This is my information. I'm going to put it at the end too, so if you don't catch it right now, it's no big deal. But yes, I'm Libby Child. I live in a town called Waimea, Hawaii, on the Big Island. Not too bad of a place to be kind of quarantined and kept
awesome.
in. So if anyone has visited before, it's about 15 minutes from the properties here on the Big Island themselves, in a town called Waimea. It's down the street from my house is the headquarters land. So it's kind of higher elevation, 3,500 square feet, green rolling pasture land, and of course with the Parker Ranch being around the corner, that local beef is fantastic. So I do also invite you to my Instagram. My Instagram handle is there if you're interested. It's pretty much just my 3-year-old daughter, so it's not that exciting, but regardless, another opportunity to connect, especially during these times, and kind of see what I got going on out here in Hawaii. So how did I end up in Hawaii? My gosh. So basically Amarillo, Texas, Coulter loves that, our Texas affiliation.
Yeah, that's awesome. Look at those photos. That's great.
I grew up in right outside of Boulder, Colorado. My parents are still there. Regardless, my husband, Mr. Trevor here, he born and raised in the islands. He has 5 generations of family now living, have been living in Hawaii. So we met going to school in Colorado though. He brought me to the Big Island for the first time in January of 2009. Loved it so much. He's a very, very smart man. He took me straight to Mauna Kea Beach Hotel, put a cocktail in my hand, and I never wanted to leave. So actually that picture up in the right-hand corner is me the very first time I ever stepped foot at Mauna Kea at Manta Point. So I'm going to talk more about that later, but it's just kind of a special little picture there to come kind of representing the company and experiencing it the first time to now where I am now. It's really special. So again, came in January 2009, vacation in July 2009, and then ended up moving here in August. So it was kind of a whirlwind, but like I said, I can't imagine living anywhere.
Aww.
My family, this is little Tinley girl. She is Miss Aloha. She will throw a shaka to anybody who asks. And Coulter, I know you've seen this presentation before, so I've added a picture. Yes, we just recently got a baby bunny involved in the mix.
Oh.
That's
You're very brave. That's very, very brave.
Very much so. Believe me, I've now learned that. It was expected. I'll probably have to have a couple glasses of wine in order to tell you the story someday.
So funny.
Regardless, let's save that for another happy hour, another time. So,
that's awesome. God, she's adorable.
Thank you. This is my 3-year-old. That's Nalu, our little golden retriever, down in the right-hand corner as well. So let's jump into it. That's a little bit about me. I want to start with Prince Waikiki. This property is located right in Waikiki. I'm like mildly obsessed with this property. There's so much product in Waikiki itself, especially nowadays, that it's hard to find those kind of gems. And I truly believe that Prince Waikiki is one of those gems. It's one of my favorite places to go, not just because I represent it, but just everything it has to offer, the location of it as well. So I'll get into that. But I'm not the only one that's mildly obsessed with Prince Waikiki. Look at this. This is unreal. We've held this for the last 2 years or so. We are #1 out of 87 hotels in all of Lulu. That's insane. I call it like hidden gem simply because it's not branded. It's a kind of unique boutique type property that not a lot of people know about. So then when they do find it, they're like, oh my gosh. And clearly that stands in this wonderful accolade of being #1 out of all of those properties in Honolulu. So I'll get into what makes it special.
Wow.
Every single room at Prince Waikiki, this is a standard room, mind you. Every single room has these types of views. They're ocean facing.
Wow.
Right there, overlooking the water. You're overlooking the marina, so it's super fun to see, the fishermen bringing in their fresh catch of the day, a big marlin, you can see that right from your windows. And of course, sunset right here outside your window. You don't have to leave the room. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
If you don't believe me, the link I put down here in the bottom right-hand screen is a link to kind of a 3D feature on our website where you can actually get like a bird's eye view or walk into the room and kind of go around and really explore the different categories and what they have to offer. But believe me when I say these rooms are absolutely stunning. I love that you can turn the entire room into your balcony essentially.
Yeah.
By these floor to ceiling windows. You get that fresh breeze coming off the ocean. Again, I talked about the boats in the marina down below. These rooms are really something. So this picture here, I wanted to kind of demonstrate where the location was. So it's the very first property that you come to from the airport entering into Waikiki. So yeah, it's right across from Ala Moana Shopping Center. I personally love it. I go to Oahu about once a month, and every single time I go to Oahu, I'm just like a little overwhelmed and shell-shocked by, not recently, of course, with the COVID situation.
Right.
How many people and how much is going on in Waikiki itself. So the fact that Prince Waikiki is a little bit removed from all the hustle and bustle that is Waikiki. It's why I love it. Of course, we do offer complimentary shuttles into Waikiki, so you can go to all the coolest places, Waikiki Beach. We do have a complimentary shuttle to the Moana Shopping Center as well. We will actually even pick up your bags for you if you don't want to carry your bags around and take them back to your room.
Yes.
It's the little things that matter. I'm a girl, I know this. Regardless, another thing that's really unique about Prince Waikiki is we're the only property in Waikiki that has its own operating golf course. So that's kind of, it's different. It is in Ewa Beach, so it's about a 30-minute drive, but we offer complimentary transportation to the golf course as well, which is really nice. So then on top of the location here, there's this new area in Waikiki called Kakaako. I don't expect you to say that. There won't be. So regardless, it's this new up and coming area that is like completely immersed in culture, local vibes, but the foodies are going crazy for this area.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's called Salt. It's kind of like a little industrial center, but it has the most amazing restaurants, bars. You can just bar hop right here, and it's the closest to Prince Waikiki. So it makes it really, really convenient for this up and coming, Chinatown is really taking off, and it's, again, closest to Prince Waikiki. I'm going to go back here. I didn't mention in my slides here, but keep in mind too, the closest thing that, unfortunately, Hawaii can get to all-inclusives is finding a property that has a club lounge floor. So I mentioned that Waikiki, of course, does. The club lounge is phenomenal. It's oceanfront, the lounge itself, but you get all day different foods and wine on tap, beer on tap, whatever you want. Is
wine on tap.
It's amazing. That's me. So it's
I know.
To buy into the club rooms is typically about $100 extra on top of the room rate. That is for 2 people, and it's highly, highly worth it. So now,
and how close are you to a beach there?
Oh my gosh, very
because you're on a marina, but I'm like, people want to go to the beach.
So essentially, to the right hand side, if you're looking out your windows, is the Mauna Beach Park. So it's about at the most, if you're walking on foot, 10 minutes. To the very left, right next door, is the Hilton Hawaiian Village. So I'm trying to see if there's a picture.
Oh, that's okay. I know exactly where it is. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's right there. So you have access to all of those beaches as well. Another fun fact, every Friday, hopefully this continues moving forward, but every Friday, Hilton Hawaiian Village does their fireworks show, right? So what better?
Oh, how cool.
Have a
so you can totally
complimentary seat right there from your window. So keep that in mind. But we'll move over to the Big Island. Again, my home, typically best to fly into Kailua Kona Airport. And then the property is about 30 minutes north of the Kona Airport. It is on the west side. There is so much to experience on the Big Island. Out of the 13 climate zones in the world, we have 11 just on this island. So for this Colorado girl, when I thought I was moving to Hawaii, the very first winter, we had snow on top of Mauna Kea. I thought I had cursed the island and brought the snow with me.
This is the island I've not been to. This is the island I need to go to. I know.
It's my favorite. The Big Island and Kauai, they're just something very, very special.
I know. I need to go there.
I invite any of you to come see me, have a Mai Tai. I can't wait for all this to be over. But regardless, so there's a lot to explore. I've lived here, again, almost 11 years, and I don't think I've even scratched the surface of what they're really give here. The black sand beaches, the volcano, it's just, there's so much. So I really like the location of the Big Island properties because it's kind of, it's accessible to all of that. So to it, this is Mauna Kea Resort. So when I say Mauna Kea Resort, essentially it's a resort feel that represents both the properties, the Westin Hapuna and Mauna Kea. I like this slide because it shows the close proximity between the 2 properties. So very close. It's a half-mile walking along the coastline and a half-mile back, so that makes for a mile round trip. And then about a 5-minute drive between the 2 along the highway, but there's so many different running paths and walking, and you can easily get back and forth between the 2. There's also a complimentary resort dining shuttle that takes guests between the 2, so you get double the restaurants, double the pool, double the all of it. So I'm going to start with the Westin Hapuna. If you're not as familiar with the Big Island, it is the youngest of all of the Hawaiian Islands. So essentially what that means is it hasn't had much time to really develop. So there's a lot of black sand beaches. We even have a green sand beach that's super, super cool. But I can honestly say that the Westin Hapuna and the Mauna Kea Beach Hotel are the only two properties with natural white sand beaches on the Big Island. So we talked about how much product there is. You know, yeah, of course you can end up at a nice property in Kona or in Waikoloa, but they're not going to have the location that these two properties have. This that you're looking at here is Hapuna Beach, been voted best beach time and time again in Hawaii. So we just went through a huge renovation in 2018. It's stunning. It's the only Westin on the Big Island of Hawaii. So that kind of is a standalone. But we did kind of turn ourselves into a franchise property of Marriott by putting that Westin name on us. We added an adults only pool. This is a view from the lobby looking down. So
that's awesome.
River of the beach, it's the adults only pool. There's a family pool, and then you have the 4 restaurants as well. This adults only pool has been very, very popular, as you can imagine, 18 and up, food service, beverage service right there overlooking the infinity edge. So our rooms boast the largest on the coastline. So just for standard rooms, it's 630 square feet, which is very generous. Another thing about these amazing properties is every single room at the Westin Hapuna faces the ocean. So you get a partial ocean view as your entry, and we are very, very generous at that. It's not, you don't have to crank your head trying to look for the ocean. No, you get it right to your balcony. So 249 rooms total, so a bit smaller than the Oahu property, which has 563. But these rooms, absolutely stunning. As you can see with the renovation, all the Westin touches were added as well. The Westin Heavenly Beds, the amenities, all of that is included. So you kind of know what to expect.
Real quickly, do all the properties have like a childcare part also?
Prince Waikiki unfortunately does not at this time. Mauna Kea and the Westin Hapuna both have kids clubs. They're half day, full day, typically run anywhere from, it's kind of peak period, $75 to $125. But there's absolutely that option. The Westin is very popular. I wanted to just touch on this because, as all of us know, there's a lot of late night flights, unfortunately, out of Hawaii.
Oh, I know what this is.
Yes, I'm mentioning this because if we typically on the outer islands, the Big Island, we don't run at 100% occupancies all year round. So we do have some flexibility to allow for your clients and our guests to have a late checkout. But if we unfortunately cannot accommodate them, this is an amazing feature that was added with the renovation. It's a locker room. Cool. Yeah, whatever. But regardless, you can store your luggage with the bellman, come down, experience this amazing locker room.
Right. That's awesome.
You know, and clean up before you go and jump on your flight. Between the two properties, I just want to mention, there's 1,800 acres of land. That's a lot of land. Just 2 hotels. They are sister properties. They do share reciprocal signing privileges. So if you're staying at the Westin Hapuna, you can go to Mauna Kea Beach Hotel and reap all the benefits, and vice versa. So it's absolutely, if you just come to the 2 properties, it's, you know, 2 hotels. I mean, wait, 1 resort, 2 hotels, stay at one plate. Kind of concept, you know, so there's a lot to explore just in Mauna Kea Resort. So I'll switch to Mauna Kea. As I mentioned before, this place really has my heart. I have some history here. I love it. It was the very first property built when Hawaii became a state. The governor asked Mr. Lawrence Rockefeller to come to the Big Island and scout locations to build a world-class resort to provide jobs for the Hawaiian people as well, because the sugarcane industry was just going out. So he did just that. He took a helicopter, explored all the Big Island, saw beautiful Kauna'oa Bay in all its glory, asked to go for a swim, and the rest is history. Now we have beautiful Mauna Kea Beach, built in 1965. I have a healthy fear of the ocean, so this is my favorite beach. I know I'm a little biased, but it sits back in kind of a cove. It's a bay, so you don't have intense rolling waves. It's sand all the way out. It's completely swimmable. That's kind of why I like it the most, and of course all of our guests do too. The location, you just can't beat it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a photo of the Big Island with that look that reminds me of Maui.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I'm looking at the Sheridan on Kaanapali. You know, I'm going, that's just stunningly beautiful.
We're the only 2 properties with a beach of this magnitude, and it's
I love that.
phenomenal. So 252 rooms here at Mauna Kea. Please keep in mind there are no mandatory resort fees at this property either.
Oh, that's huge.
That's huge. So keep in mind too, a little secret fact, of course, with all of the COVID situation happening, there are no resort fees currently at any of our properties, but Mauna Kea, even after the COVID, next year, everything, no mandatory resort fee. So everything is included in the room rate, which is really nice. So these are the beautiful ocean view rooms. We do have Golf Vista entry-level rooms as well. Mauna Kea Beach Hotel in 2008 did partner with the Autograph Collection, part of Marriott.
Okay.
Kind of what sets it apart. It's exactly like nothing else. It doesn't fit into a mold, but we needed a little bit of help in branding and marketing ourselves. So the loyalty point system, as well as the reservation system, are done through Marriott. With that said too, in my opinion, again, Mauna Kea is one of the last true authentic Hawaiian properties left, simply because it's unlike anything else. It was built in the 60s to be a Hawaiian property. We want to keep all the charm, all the magic, all the zen of this property the same. So 60% of our clientele is repeat. That's huge.
Wow, that is huge. Yeah.
August 1st, when Hawaii opens back up and we can start welcoming visitors again, at Mauna Kea, we're already sitting at a 50% occupancy from our repeat clientele.
Whoa, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It's huge. So they support us so much, and they love Mauna Kea and are missing it as much as we miss them. So again, I mentioned all the land. There's a lot of activities that can be done here. With a world-class beach you need to have world-class beach activities. So we of course offer those, stand-up paddleboarding, kayaks, anything you can think of essentially. We have 11 seaside tennis courts. We also have pickleball. We have bocce ball courts, so it's very family friendly, very family oriented as well. But of course, honeymooners love coming and getting away from it all at these properties too. They're a very romantic vibe. I love the Freddie trike in the upper right hand corner.
Yep.
Trike that gets pedaled around and delivered fresh, like those are popsicles.
I love those. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Super cute.
Now, would you say that are they different levels for the hotel of like? Is the Westin like a 5-star or a 4.5, and this is a 4, or is it?
So Mauna Kea would be considered a 5-star, and the Westin Hotel about a 4.5. So we do consider a slightly higher as well.
Okay.
But it's kind of interesting because once we renovated the Hapuna, they kind of started competing with each other a little bit. People that
That's so funny.
we're like, maybe we'll try out the Westin Hapuna. And we're like, wait a second, like, that's different. So it's just the quality of these two properties is phenomenal.
Right.
And again, being able to go back and forth and reap all the benefits is really nice. So.
And is there somebody asked if there is a teen club. I don't believe there is, right?
Unfortunately not. It's funny though, because
that's not a common thing in Hawaii. So
not so much, but with the Mauna Kea Resort specifically, I mentioned that repeat guest clientele that, when the families come back in the summer with summer break, lifelong friends get made on the lawn at Mauna Kea. And the teens all know each other and they're friends and they can't wait to welcome each other back and that sort of thing. So there is, we do offer teen activities per se, like different activities in high occupancies. We'll put together a volleyball game. We'll put together different activities experience, but not a designated teen club, unfortunately.
Right.
So in the beginning of the presentation, I mentioned Manta Point. This is our kind of one of our signatures as well. That's me standing there in 2009. This is us on water. It's called Manta Point because the manta ray come into the bay on a nightly basis. They love this bay as much as I do. So we do have manta ray come in. You can swim with them, which I'll talk about in a bit, or just stand on Manta Point and observe them from above. But we illuminate the water, which then of course attracts plankton, which then attracts the manta rays. So they're feeding and they're belly rolling and going all around. And it's really something unique and spectacular. Yes, there is another tour. Kona does it. There's boats and tons of people, but nothing as intimate and unique as the Mauna Kea experience. So I think when people think of manta tours on the Big Island, they automatically think of Kona, which I myself have done. It was awesome. It was such an amazing experience until I did the Mauna Kea one because there's just less people. There's less. It's not so hectic. It's more intimate. So as I mentioned, we had 2 marine biologists.
Oh my gosh, I would freak out. But my husband will do this.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun.
I just like being in dark water and having something come by. You think Jaws? Like,
yes, at first, I told you, I have a healthy fear of the ocean. I was a little worried about it. I'm doing it with my father here who came and visited from Colorado. So I was gripping his arm a little too much.
Yeah, my toes are curling right now.
Yes, squirmy. But
it's Jaws be filmed. So
And
I
you
don't know.
walk right
I'm just
out
too old.
from-
Yeah, I was on Martha's Vineyard. I'm like, I'm just a little too old. I don't know. But it's beautiful.
Okay, you can be
and my
watching
husband
your
can-
husband.
I
You
can, and I can
watch him look
totally
away.
watch his video when he comes back. He wants to go night scuba diving. I'm like, no.
Oh,
Next wife.
see, we're
Your
in
next
Mauna
wife.
Kea.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
So
But that's so
again,
cool. So that's you, and then that's your dad.
yeah, so we're fully doing the manta snorkel. You walk right out from the beach. The marine biologists that approach us are so educated and so passionate, like almost freakishly passionate about these manta rays. They can name every single one by the markings on their belly, and they
Oh, it's like
are
their
out-
dogs.
Yeah, or bunnies. We're out tour with like a 20-minute like educational experience where you're learning about these mantas.
Wow.
Then to be able to go into the water and then experience them in their natural habitat. And they come up to you and they say, don't touch the mantas. The mantas might touch you. So you gotta
Whoa, totally. They think you have food,
Yeah.
probably.
It's such a
That's
magical
so cool.
experience. Once you're in the water, you totally forget about this scary things. So again, after
Okay.
about 10 people at a time. So one of the amazing experiences at Mauna Kea. But that kind of concludes
Oh,
with our 3 beautiful properties. Each has
they
something.
are just beautiful.
Yeah, here's my information again, and I invite all of you to connect. Anything I can do to help with
Yeah.
these properties or just Hawaii in general. You know, it's a different beast. I'm happy to help. Anything you guys need.
Oh, I love that, because we do get a lot of questions about Hawaii, and I think I always tell people I don't want them to go to a place just because, like, the passport issue or something. I really want people to go and experience it. My sister will not leave when I've gone with her so many times to Maui, and I'm like, come on, go to a different island. They really are incredibly different. And you really do miss out if you don't go to the different islands. So we were talking before, I think everyone got on, just trying to go over Hawaii right now is open to come open on August 1st. I know that what they're saying is that you have to have a test that clears 72 hours or less to get on an airplane. And it's the test that has the R in it. I should really have that written down.
I should
But-
too. Apologies.
I know. I'm like, because someone, you know why? It's because someone sent me like this test. I should show the screenshot. And it was like, it looked like their kid made a little thing on a computer. And they were like, hey, we're going to go do COVID testing. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to go. It could be the antibody test. Here, I'll go find out what it is real quick. It's a very, very specific test that, and what I'm told is that Sonoran Quest and LabCorp, you can set an appointment. But if you don't have it 72 hours or less, you will not get on the airplane. It's not that you'll get quarantined. They're not doing quarantining. They will test you before you get on there. The airlines are requiring you to wear masks. Whether or not they enforce that while you get on there, just count on it so that you aren't disappointed when you get on there, and they do. Some people have said, oh, the flight attendants don't care. Great. That's between you and the flight attendant. Assume that they're going to care.
Right.
I don't want people to be upset when they find out, oh, well, this is what happened. But with that being said, can you share any light? Is there anything else that people should know about going there?
Yeah, I think pay attention because, of course, we're so excited. August 1st, Hawaii's opening. However, I think some properties specifically are taking still a very guarded approach to that announcement. I think they kind of want to open up, have people start trickling in, see how it goes. But you may find a property that doesn't open up until September. Or just be aware that it's again still very, very fluid and changing at all times, as we all know with this whole thing. So find contacts like myself, like Classic Vacations, like any of that you can reach out to and really understand the facts before sending anybody out here. So again, reach out to me. I'm happy to help and let you know what's going on. And
it is called, by the way, the COVID-19 RT-PCR test, accelerated emergency use. I have no idea what that means. But that's what they say, is that's what Tahiti and everyone's starting to go off that. And I've said this on every single Zoom. I've said this with everyone as we've started to come back. We joke about if you told me 4 months ago that all this would be going on, I would have laughed. But we're really picky about who we do business with. And part of the reason we pick certain companies to do business with is we can sell, cancel for any reason insurance. We want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to get the trip that you want. Some of the things that people have struggled with is when it's, oh, you're having a future credit. Well, I'm really sorry you lost your job, but you have a future credit, or the airlines aren't working with you and stuff like that. So we're taking the time to learn what is the best way for us to book a trip for people. whether it's going to be in 2020, 2021, 2022. And how to go, how to go to the right island. I get this all the time with the brides. We want to go to Hawaii. And I'm like, okay, so what? I ask them questions, and I'm like, the huge difference between Honolulu and Kauai. Excuse me, huge difference between Northern Kauai and Southern. I stayed in Northern Kauai, and I never got a tan. It rained the entire time. It's beautiful, though. I mean, we walked everywhere. It was great. We could go everywhere. I mean, loved it. Honolulu was awesome, but there's no sun. So I was like, but it's the green. They call it the Green Island. I'm like, it's a very quiet island. You want to go dance at night? You're not going to Kauai.
No.
Yeah. And so there's a reason that we partner with you and we do this and stuff like that. So it's very, very different. I was going to make one comment real quickly. One of our, she's actually a friend of mine in my networking group. She said, I'm going back to her, Darcy used to work at Hapuna and lived in Waikoloa.
What?
Yeah, she's out here.
This is a small world. Darcy, hi, I see you waving there. How cool is this?
Yeah.
What did you do at Hapuna?
You can, totally.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I first I worked at Mauna Kea. I was the administrative assistant to the executive food and beverage director, Mr. Manago. I don't know if he's still there.
Oh no, I don't.
And Joe Takata was in the bar area. Anyway, I worked there as a food and beverage admin, and then a year later, and I coordinated Winter Wine Escape. I don't know if they're still doing that. And then I went to Mauna Kea. I had an office there on the golf course. I was the wedding coordinator. So I was at Manta Point and witnessed many weddings and saw them swimming around, and me and the photographer would always nudge each other and go, look.
That's so cool.
Oh, that's awesome, Darcy. Thank you. So you can attest to everything I kind of just said. I'm not full of crap, people. I swear.
Yeah,
I believe
there. Best island to go to.
Oh,
and it's funny because when I try to suggest the Big Island, people go, "Oh no, I don't want to go there." And I always want to go to Maui, and I've been to Maui so many times, and I don't want to be discredited, but I'm like, I don't want to go back to Maui. And people 100%. Are like, I'm like, it's it's pretty. It's the most American. It has a ton of resorts, but it's very deserty when you land. I'm like, I want to see old Hawaii. And so people are like, no, I don't want that. And so it sometimes feels like it's a harder sell. But that's part of why I do this. So what's great is we record these. And so I had someone that was asking about Greece, and I showed her our bucket list, and I went, go look at this, understand the differences in the islands, because it's very, very different. The vibe, the resorts, the mood of the people that go there. Like you said, when you go to a resort when 65% of the people are repeats, there's a whole different vibe at a resort like that. Exactly. I noticed that even at the all-inclusives I go to, the smaller ones, people come back. And they are happy, and the staff know them. And so they're happier people when they go there. So
exactly. You couldn't have said it better. I think the Big Island too, if you guys ever need help with selling points, knowing your clients and things, there's not just, the volcano. If that's not enough for people, I don't really know what it is, but there's the most amazing hikes and waterfalls. Yeah. And at the northern point of the island, it's called Pololu Valley. It's my absolute favorite hike. It's very accessible, very easy, 20 minutes down, about 30 minutes up, but it's a black sand beach. Is kind of in the bay as well. Oh gosh, Darcy, what do you got?
Bay.
Oh, that's so
we
fun.
renewed our vows before we left. It was a surprise I did. Yeah, so.
Oh, see?
That's so
awesome.
Fun. That's awesome.
But all the different waterfalls and things that you could experience in the valleys, I think not a lot of people really know about that on the Big Island. Right. My very first job when I moved here and was just frantically handing out my resume to try to get a job last minute was that Blue Hawaiian helicopter. So, and it was the most amazing way to learn about the Big Island too for myself. Because anytime the helicopters weren't full, I could jump on a helicopter and get to experience that, which was really awesome. So being able to see it from the air, highly, highly recommend, because there's so much to it that so many people I don't think realize.
Yeah, and don't do it by going to a timeshare, because that's everyone. Everyone goes, oh, I'll just go to a timeshare and I'll just get my free helicopter. I'm like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't let your vacation be something that you dread. I'm always like,
it's like staying at an apartment. It's like not, the resort experience is the experience.
If you're going to save up the money and really do Hawaii, you want to do Hawaii. You don't want to get what you could experience down the street from your local, like, at home. So you really want authentic cultural experience. And you gotta sometimes dig to be able to find that. That's, again, love Maui, but not that much, because unfortunately I think it has become pretty commercialized, unfortunately.
I think it is. It's a lot. And again, it's a great island. There's a place for it, but I think it's trying to have people understand the differences in the islands, understand the differences in the resorts, differences in what people are going to experience and see. And we were supposed to go on a cruise, my husband and I, in September with friends on NCL, and I was so excited because we were going to go to the Big Island. I'm like, oh. I know. I was like, oh, I really want to go. So we will. We'll make it back. We're not deprived, of course, but But yeah, no, I definitely do. I think there's a beautiful. Is there any questions that you guys have not typed or asked? Because we've got some time. We don't need to make you stay on, of course, longer, but we do have some time here in case anyone has any questions about anything really about the properties or about Hawaii or about opening that we haven't talked about. And then someone's listening to some good music, I can tell.
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good, Darcy. I like good music.
Well, I definitely want to make a trip back there with my kids. We moved away in '97, and I haven't been back since. And I miss it. What is it? In Waimea, cafe, breakfast place with the pancakes that are like.
Hawaiian style cafe. Oh my gosh, it will keep you fed for the entire day. It's very cheap. Yeah. Hole in the wall. I asked for a side of bacon the very first time I went there, and they brought me a plate of like a mound of bacon. I was like, where am I? What's going on? That's definitely local kind of vibe experience. Lots of
that's awesome
restaurants that are really
that's awesome. Well, and I think that's the other thing. You don't get that a lot of times when you go to some of these bigger resorts. I like that those resorts are not as large as some of the mega resorts when you want to try to experience local, even though it's funny, even though it's America, it's like US. Outside it, unless you are with a bunch of Americans, it is not very US in a sense that their culture, everything about it's completely different. So it's like, hey, how do we go and experience like sugarcane fields or find these different things and go find out how this country started? I mean, people think that sometimes I've been told, oh, the luau, oh, that sounds so cheesy. And I'm like, if you really listen. Now, I've been to 3. I will say 2 of them, I drank a lot. So, but the one I went to in Kauai, my husband's sitting here laughing.
He's like, yeah,
Kauai, it was very, he got pulled up on stage on that one. Maybe that's why I wasn't drinking so much. But they were, but it was a family and they totally explained the whole story of Kauai. And I was like, oh, I totally got it. I was like, this is their whole history. Oh, it's not just a place to drink Mai Tais. Oh.
No, totally.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Yeah. We have a vanilla farm here on the Big Island.
Oh, I love vanilla. It's my favorite.
Are kind of a little hesitant when I recommend it, but it's so cool. It's like so, I keep using the word authentic, but it really is. And you go through a 3-course dining menu, learning about this vanilla on the Big Island. Yeah. The vanilla is infused in everything that you're eating. It's just like, what? This is amazing.
We did that
it's like kind of Pauilo, so like Honoka, up in Pauilo, up in the mountains in Pauilo. So
we did that in Tahiti with a Tahiti specialist. I'm telling you, it was one of the coolest things we ever did.
Oh,
and that's part of it where they explain and they show you and then you eat the food and you're like, yeah, that's not like my McCormick's vanilla that I buy at home to make my cookies with.
I didn't realize there's a big difference. Yes.
Huge difference.
I didn't touch on is Mauna Kea Resort has its own honeybees. So we actually offer tours where you can go out in the full bee suit for adults and children. We have children bee suits to go out and experience the honey and the whole situation. You find the queen and then you go back and the chef prepares food for you made with the Mauna Kea Resort honey. So it's
that's kind of cool.
I think this whole phenomenon of farm to table or
right.
Hawaii's been doing that since the beginning of time. Like that's
I totally agree.
Thing we know. We go to the farmers market, all of that. So to have kind of showcase those at our resort. Another thing that we have at Mauna Kea Beach Hotel that's of course open to the public or to Mauna Kea Resort is something every Saturday called the Clam Bake. It's all you eat. not only seafood, all you can eat lobster tail. It is to die for. Everything is fresh from the island. It's so delicious. It happens on the beach at Mauna Kea. It's so cool. It's really, really, don't miss it.
I think I want to go there on August 1st.
There you go. Come see me. My birthday's August 6th. We can celebrate.
Oh, there you go.
Might
You're going to be what, like
11.
24? Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate it. I am so excited to, I have to get there. This was awesome. And if you guys have any other questions, I'm going to send the video out. I'm going to send out your stuff that you had sent to me. And then if anyone has any questions, like she said, that's part of what we're trying to do, is trying to educate people along with this and say, hey, maybe you thought you wanted to go to Maui, but now you're thinking the Big Island. Maybe you want to spend a couple days in Waikiki so you can see Pearl Harbor and do stuff. This is a resort. I'll be honest, I knew nothing about it. I don't think I've sold it. I always go for the Hilton or, you know, the Princess or whatever, you know, the ones that pop up. And so it's like, you have to take time to find the diamonds in the rough. And I think this was really cool. So I really appreciate it, Libby. And I look forward to meeting you soon.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, everyone, for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, goodbye. I love you, honey. You can go swim with your manta rays all by yourself.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye, guys. Bye.